What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feed the Beast Interactions. I think this is episode 10. Finally hooked this up. I haven't used it yet, but we have got 4 basic steam turbines going into 2 LV hatches, so we have our MV EBF set up, and we're going to use this today and see if we can get to some basic MV. But before we do that, there's a couple of things that I did between episodes that I want to show you first. First of all, I got this logistics system set up. I much prefer it to the modular storage single blocks. So the way these work is you have basic logistic pipes connecting all of these, and then we use unrouted transport pipes to go below because they're cheaper. And pretty much the way it works is if something's just traveling in a straight line or doesn't have any different directions it can go, you can use these unrouted transport pipes. I think you do need to put a basic logistics pipe like every 30 or so blocks just to keep it connected to the network. Then anywhere there's a junction, you have to use basic logistic pipes so that it will do the logic of which way it needs to send the item. And then over here we have our old modular storage. And these are connected with logistics chassis. And each of these has a provider module and an item sync module. And the item sync is set to default route, which means if there's nowhere else for it to store it, it will go in here. And also I think if it's already stored in there, it will also go into here. The provider module just provides it for the table up there. I've got this set up on these two. I'm not using these yet, but once we get to MV, we can make the tier 3 card. So I'll probably wait until then to hook these two up. And then I've started setting up some caches for bulk storage, because these only hold a certain amount of stacks. And it doesn't matter what sort of stack it is. So for something that you've got, say, like 3.5 stacks of, much better being in a cache or a barrel in this case. And these are set up pretty much the same way, just with a logistics chassis and the provider module. But this one I've just put polymorphic item syncs in. Just means as long as it will store whatever item is already in there. And these provider modules are set to leave 1 item per type, just so that the polymorphics continue working. So that's our basic storage system. We can do auto crafting and stuff like that with logistics pipes as well. But I'm going to wait until we get some MV machinery to set up auto crafting, I think. And then over here I've set up the basic infusion altar. Took up a little bit more room than I thought it was going to, but I don't know if we'll leave it here for good or whether we might end up moving it up a floor or something and using this space on the next floor, but we'll see. And I've made up some candles just to increase stability. I am gaining a little bit, really enough to do the low stability recipes. We will need to do some more to do the more complicated recipes. But I haven't used this yet. And we might use it today, but we'll see. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did between episodes. So in order to progress to MV, we're going to need aluminium. This is made in the blast furnace at MV. Now there's a few ways for us to get this aluminium dust. I don't think we get this on this planet. So we can get it from green sapphire. I don't think pulverizing is how we're going to go. Looks like we might need to make an electrolyzer first. And electrolyze some green sapphire dust just to get our first few. It's looking like it's probably going to be the way, or just normal sapphire dust. I think we have both. Let's see, what do we need to make an electrolyzer? So we're missing 4 gold wire and a machine hull. Can we craft this? It doesn't handle the GregTech tools very well, I have noticed. But apart from that, it's been great. I find it's best to remove the tool before you do the request, because you can press this button to just request parts of the recipe. Like if I put one steel plate back in wrong slot. So we've got all but one of the steel plates. We can press this button and it will fill what's left of the recipe. Now this works great the first time you've done it, but if I was to put if I was to do a craft like so, and then say, oh, grab me 8 more steel plates so we can make another one. It's now saying we're missing the wrench because the durability is different. So I find it's best when you want to do requests just to take the wrench out first. I do still need to tidy all of this up. I'll probably end up moving all of these into the logistics room. I think I'm going to try and like set up a full logistics system rather than just using it for temporary storage until applied energistics. You do have to get the way into the pack to actually unlock applied energistics. Where's the controller? So yeah, we need to be able to make these. This is MV. Then we need this stellar alloy, which we can only get, I think, from the moon. So we will have a little way to go. We will have to progress through all of this page before we can go to the moon. Okay, so let's see whether we can request all of this now. We can, perfect. It's a little bit slower than other storage systems, but I kind of like the idea that it all has to travel through the pipes. It's good fun. So I've actually run out of line on this setup. I guess we'll just pop it up top there for now. And we'll throw some of this in, and this should give us aluminium. There we go, it's our first aluminium. And then we should be able to just take this upstairs and throw it in the EBF. So if we just pop this, that is the fluid hatch. We just pop this in here. It's pretty slow. And an MV, we're waiting 40 seconds per. So it's going to take a little while to cook some of this up. I also set up this cooking for blockheads multi-block between episodes, and this has made it just a little bit easier to make all the food that we get through. Okay, so I processed up some more sapphire and put it all through the blast smelter, and now we've got quite a lot of aluminium. Alright, and for the next quests, we're going to want to make a MV machine hull. Grab some of those. Not entirely sure what wires this needs, but I should have just done this in the assembly machine. Oh well. There we go. So there's the machine casing. And then we're going to need copper cables in order to make the machine holes. I don't think we have any of those yet. So I'll just make some of those up. There we go. Now that we have our copper cables, we can make the MV machine hole. And then that should be the quest to get into the MVH. When we look at this progression page and we look in the MVH, we see that in order to progress from here, we're going to need stainless steel at HV power in the EBF. For that, we're going to need a few different resources. We also start looking at diesel as a power source. I'm also going to get a lot of things like better circuits and better recipes for the circuits that we already have that cost less materials. Be really nice. And then we have a whole new chemistry page to work through. I still haven't actually worked through most of the LV one. I also built this extra floor. This is just upstairs in our machine room. And I figured I'd make a whole floor for MV because I want to start doing some automation and try out the logistic pipes automation because I haven't used that before. So I brought the network up here with another terminal, another request table. And I'll finish building this in between episodes, but I'd also like to start setting up some basic ore refining just because I'm a bit sick of hitting things with a hammer. And now that we have infinite starlight with the chicken, what we can do is rather than needing to use starlight transmutation, which is possible to automate, it's just a little bit of a pain. We can now just chemical bath our ores with liquid starlight to make the dense version. We can smelt into clusters and then just pulverize twice into impure, which we can smelt for ingots. So I'll probably set up a basic just ore refining just to throw stuff in a chest and kind of forget about it system, and also like automate putting gems through the sifter and things like that. I've got a bunch of stuff just sitting in chests that I end up like doing bit by bit when I need it rather than just doing it all in bulk. So to start off with, we're going to need some power. Now, I think we just use the steam turbines still. We just get an advanced one for MV. In order to make this, we will need the MV circuits. So we're going to have to figure out how to make those, as well as bronze rotors, MV motors. You'll notice most of the GregTech recipes, they just change the materials in between tiers. So whereas before this was tin cables, red alloy wire, I think, and then iron, it's now aluminium rods, magnetic steel, 2 times copper wire and 1 copper cable. You can do it for the same price in an assembler using molten copper. Yeah, it's exactly the same price. And it'll be something very similar with most of it. It's just like the machine casing was aluminium instead of steel. And the same for like pistons. It's the same recipe, just with different resources. So I probably won't get too much into all of the microcrafting. But we are going to have to figure out which circuits we want next. Is there a quest for them? There is. I'm guessing these ones are the first ones. We need an MV assembly machine to make those, which needs a circuit. Okay. Never mind that. I had another look, and we do actually need these basic electronic circuits before we can do them in the assembler. And these require these integrated circuits, which require an MV cutting saw. So it looks like the only way we're going to be able to craft these for now is using 4 of these integrated logic chips, 2 steel plates, and a couple of red alloy cables, as well as a diode. In order to make the diode, we need black dye, which we can get from squids. This is any panes of glass, so that's easy. Fine tin wire is easy. And where can we get gallium from? That's an option. We can, I'm pretty sure we've got bauxite when we went to the nether, so we can just centrifuge that for some tiny piles for now. Or zinc. We have both of those from the nether. So these aren't too bad to make, and we shouldn't have to do too many recipes like this. You're going to need 1 for the terminal, then we'll need the laser engraver, the cutting machine. We're probably going to make about 8 circuits like this. Well, thankfully, this quest book actually gives you a bunch of these basic circuits for free, and I haven't collected most of them. Click on every single quest that doesn't have one, so there's 4. Here's another 2. Yeah, it looks like it's just those 6, but I've still got some left over from batch crafting them before. So I might have to make a few more. Here we go, just centrifuging some of this bauxite dust for gallium. And it turns out just getting the tiny pile of gallium gets us 8 diodes, so that saves me a little bit of work. Okay, so I think we should have everything to make our first couple of these. Yeah, it looks like we can make about 3. Those are really expensive for now. But I believe, yeah, we can get another 4 for a quest reward here. We'll see how far we can get with just these. So we will need the turbine. You can tell how many free resources I got after making that first 40 motors. So I've got all those machines and I still haven't built a polarizer. Do we have everything for it now? There we go, I can grab that to make the steel rods. Another neat thing I did between episodes was I made up we got a blank advanced focus and some crystals and stuff from a quest reward, so I made a healing spell. So I no longer have to make potions and carry them around with me when I jump over my balconies. And now just use the caster's gauntlet. It's really awesome. But okay, we should be able to make motors now. So we will need to make some of these first. And then now we should be able to make a few of these. We needed 2, I think, for the turbine. Next up, we're going to need some bronze rotors. These are exactly the same as the tin ones, it's just bronze. And then we're also going to need medium steel pipes for these. So we're going to need some more steel plates. And then hopefully we should be able to craft this now. I just need the wire. Oh, we got the wire. There we go. So there's our advanced steam turbine. This will let us power our MV machines. And I think next, making these circuits would be pretty nice because they are cheaper. So we will want a cutting saw and a precision laser engraver. I'm just going to grab the 3 machine holes from here. I did get some of these, but these are just the LV ones. So if we make the laser engraver first. And so in order to make this, we're going to need 3 of our circuits, some copper cables, the MV machine hull. Then we're going to need 2 pistons and an emitter, which is going to take another 2 of our circuits. That's 5 circuits. Do we have that? We have just about enough circuits to make that. What about for the cutting machine? Ah, yes, of course, this needs 2 circuits. So we are going to have to make 1 more circuit up the expensive way. Unless I can find one from a quest reward, which is possible. Okay, hopefully we should be able to make these pistons now. There we go, so that's our 2 pistons. Okay, and that should be everything for the emitter, I think. Perfect. And then we should just need to make this, and we have everything. So there's our laser engraver. Now, the wiring for this tier with 0 loss is actually mana steel. We haven't made this yet, but it's not particularly difficult. We just variations of steel pretty much into a mana pool. We have some blue steel left over. So if we grab some of this, we'll see how much we can make up. I've been trying to remember to run some creosote through the petropechinias. Oh yeah, plenty. There we go. Okay, and I've just made those into the cables. That's a quest. It just gets us some more of them. I can't see anywhere else that I can scam up some free circuits from for now, so I am going to have to just make up some more. I think we just needed this 1 more circuit in order to make the cutting machine. Yeah, it's just 2. We're also going to need 3 motors. That's easy. Okay, so there's some more rubber sheets. And there's our conveyor module. Okay, and that's our brass gear. Diamond saw blade. And there's everything for our advanced cutting machine. So what I want to use these for is to make these basic electronic circuits, which require, because these are a lot cheaper than the ones I'm making at the moment, and also let me make the cheaper MV circuits. And for this, we're going to need integrated circuits, which requires integrated circuit wafers, which requires a ruby or a garnet lens. I have rubies. And here's our ruby lens. Excuse my inventory, it's terrible right now. So one thing that I didn't think about is that we actually don't have any silicon balls yet to print these. So I will need to take a quick look and just see how we craft those. We need these monocrystalline silicon balls, which is 32 silicon dust and a tiny pile of gallium dust in a blast furnace MV. What can we get silicon from though? So I don't have any yet. Okay, so we are going to have to make an MV electrolyzer in order to get the silicon by the looks of it. I don't see a better way of getting it. Which is going to be another 2 circuits and some silver wire. So I'll just make all that up. And there is our MV electrolyzer. Now we've got a few of these machines, some extra quest rewards. Let's go and set these up. We'll just need to run that pipe through the floor. I think I have enough pipe left. Ooh. I can probably set it up for now and then we'll have to move it later, but I just want to get this set up for now. Okay, and these are all now powered with MV. I think I'm probably going to need some more. 13 for 2, and I need half a stack. Yeah, so I'm going to need some more. And we should have everything to make the silicon ball now. It's just 32 silicon and a tiny pile of gallium dust and a programmable circuit set to 1. This does take like 7.5 minutes or something like that in the blast furnace MV, so this will take a little while. And here's a silicon ball. And thankfully, to save us from having to do that again for a while, this quest actually gives us 8 more, which should keep us going for a pretty long time, hopefully. Now then we throw these into the cutting machine. Made up some of this lubricant. Don't think I did it on recording, but it's not difficult. It's just redstone and creosote. There. Okay, and now if we put this ruby lens in here, make sure that's done because I can't actually run more than one of these at a time at the moment. Okay, and then once we've got these integrated circuit wafers, I'll make sure this doesn't craft too many of these. It's also a quest. Even more wafers. This quest book is so generous with the rewards. To say it makes a lot of the gregging that you need to do in this pack a lot easier. It should be alright now. I'm going to throw this in the cutting machine. It was not alright. Hopefully they won't both stop, because that's a nightmare. Does this... No good, it doesn't void resources when it runs out of power either. It's always a love-hate relationship with Greg Tech when the pack orders take out the more punishing mechanics, things like clean rooms and maintenance hatches that aren't in this pack. Because I love the complexity of it all, but at the same time, it just makes your life so much easier when you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, now we're able to make these better basic electronic circuits. These are so much cheaper. You don't need the fast vacuum tubes, you don't need the red alloy cable. It's just one tin, a quarter of a copper ingot, and your 2 resistors that you needed anyway. The last thing that we need for this, because we have pulp, we've just been sawmilling down logs, that gives us wood pulp. And the plate mold's easy. We are just going to need some glue. And I'm just going to extract some sticky resin for that. Yes, we've just made up a little bit of glue and some plate molds. We can throw these in for the phenolic circuit boards. There we go. And then it was the integrated circuits, phenolic circuit boards, resistors, and then we just need some molten tin and fine copper wire. Okay, and molten tin and fine copper wire. And we'll just make a few of these for now. Again, these were actually a bit of a stopgap circuit, because we want these so that we can make these a lot cheaper. It's only 3 circuits instead of 4. As well as these being cheaper circuits. And then once we have some more of these, we can make the MV assembly machine. And this takes quite a few of these circuits, which is why I want to make them cheaper. And then once we have this, we can then move on to make these advanced circuit parts. And these are LV circuits as well, that make 4 of them from one recipe. They're okay, and I think we've got everything we need for these circuits now. Well, I think we still have everything we need for the circuits, thankfully. We throw those in there. Except for 1 tin. What am I missing? Oh yeah, fine electron wire. Okay, and I think we've got everything for the assembling machine now. Just going to make these 2 robot arms. And then hopefully, yeah. There we go. That's a big step up. So what we can do with this is we can craft these advanced circuit parts. So these are our new LV circuits, and we get 4 at once. We will need polyethylene in order to make these though, I think. Yeah. So I'll probably leave making those until next episode, but just having the basic ones is a lot better. We'll also get access to these integrated processors, but again, these need polyethylene. But, I think I'm going to end the episode there for today. It's been a bit of a long one, and it's been a bit of a slog with Greg. I just kind of wanted to show everything that goes into when you get to a new tier, preparing to make all of the things that you need to make like the upgraded circuits and like components and stuff like that. As always, leave any feedback you've got down in the comments. I'll try and get a bit done between episodes and get some of the MV line set up, and probably maybe start on some resource automation, because I am definitely running low on some resources and need to do some processing. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.